Welcome everyone to the Atreo Podcast. This is the second one for this week, or not for this week per se. I'm joined here as always with Marty Boy, and Smack Boy is our guest today.
Hey everyone.
What's going on, everyone?
All right, so first things first, we wanted to talk about the new PTR patch notes, and there is a lot to talk about here. A lot of stuff has changed. So just to start with, we'll start with the Brigitte changes we'll start with the Brigitte changes for the new patch. So her shield bash, her cone angle has been reduced from 90 to 60. I guess we'll start with you, Marta. What do you think?
It will now finally feel good. Like, if you've been playing a bit of quick play, I was recently ranking up a Smurf, so I had to play quick play. Then versus Brigitte, it's just horrible. Sometimes she just goes past you and you're like, hey, she missed. Feels good, man. And then she stuns you because like AoE works that way.
Mm-hmm.
So like this 60%, Jeff Goodman commented on the forums about it. It's not even really a nerf. It's just like for the people a good change.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like it. I would almost argue maybe I don't know exactly what the numbers are for. I just know what it felt like. I've seen videos of how crazy it was before. You could literally hit a Reinhardt when your shield was barely, not even touching him. It was actually missing him, and you would still hit the Reinhardt. So I like this change. Hopefully it's enough. What do you think, Smackboy?
Well, I always thought that it should have been more of a sniping ability. I thought it should have been, a higher skill cap, not something you can spam every 6 seconds. And I was hoping that maybe they reduce the cooldown to like 10 seconds to, give it some more balance between other abilities that it's trying to counter. Sort of like, just a little faster than Tracer's Recall. But I do think the cone reduction angle was a smart choice to get the same effect without patently like changing the cooldown. It does make it more of a sniping ability. You have to be more accurate with it. And I even had some games today in QP where I was playing Ana and just like not even in LOS, and I was just getting stunned. I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a lot of players still think Brigitte is a bit overpowered. So hopefully
this isn't actually a nerf. This is just it feels a bit better. Like
it's how it
now
really
won't be raging as much.
Yeah, no,
it's really how it should have been.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I've heard a lot of players in the Atreo Discord that I talk to, and they're just like, take Brigitte out of the game. We don't want Brigitte. we don't want Brigitte in the game. Like no one, like everyone.
If you're looking for scrims as a team, you see quite often no Brigitte, Brigitte.
Yeah, no
one wants to deal with that shit.
Yeah, no. When I was getting a couple scrims like this week, and all the people I got, they were just like, so are you okay with Brigitte or not okay with Brigitte? And I was just like, I mean, play what you want because we're practicing for open division, and you're gonna see her in open division. So, but yeah. So moving on. So Genji, his deflect is nerfed now. The hitbox has been reduced. A lot of people have been wanting this for a while. So I guess we'll start with Smack.
It's not even a nerf. It's just a fix.
Yeah, definitely.
That thing was broken.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's a big nerf. Feel like it's still probably going to be usable.
Because I think it wraps around his hurt box. I guess to use a fighting term. It goes a little to the sides, but it's not as wide, so flashbangs that are aimed better won't get stupidly reflected. I think it's it's like the Brigitte fix. It's like what it should have been. It's what it should have been to begin with.
Yeah, no, I think this is a definitely a good change. So I guess now this is probably the one that everyone has been waiting for a very long time. The Hanzo rework. So it's not a buff or a nerf per se. Some people might think it's a buff. Some people might think it's a nerf. It's a rework.
It's a buff.
Yeah, no. So
like everything except removing scatter, because scatter was clearly broken.
Oh yeah.
But now this
it was really unfun too when you died to scatter arrow. So.
But now you're just gonna have like a Hanzo just leaping behind and erase a barrier, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like right in her face and then killing her. Dude, the mobility on that is incredible. I think that's actually the most important buff because it is a buff. They're trying to make Hanzo meta. We all know how much Papa Jeff loves his Hanzo.
But he already was meta, right? I mean, he was played on Kings Row by Houston Outlaws. He's sometimes played on Junkertown. I mean, he does see
two
play.
maps. Let's call that meta.
Yeah,
it's better than Symmetra.
But who's gonna play McCree now? True. You know? Like at close range, if you can fire off 6 scatter storm arrows right into a tracer's face, like we're gonna see less Pine.
Especially with Brigitte now, right? Like you don't even need the CC from the McCree if you have a Brigitte. So Brigitte Hanzo. Brigitte is the backline defender. She can deal with the Tracer. Then Hanzo just does everything McCree does but better, right?
And also Hanzo can deal with the Brigitte with his leap, but also Flashbang does go around that barrier pretty quickly.
That's
so
fair. That's fair.
I think it's gonna be like an evening out of their pick rates in similar scenarios.
Yeah, I think the Hanzo will probably be used when you have a lot of like a lot more open space, like still Junkertown, a bit of King's Row first point, things like that.
Especially with that projectile speed buff, man.
Oh,
he's basically hit scan at like medium range. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
That's one thing I really didn't expect. Like to buff his projectile speed again. I don't remember where they started. Does anyone of you remember? Like they buffed it already once. I don't know what the speed was back then.
Yeah, it doesn't actually say in the patch notes. It doesn't.
Yeah, but
now
no,
it does. It does. So, it's been.
Yeah, but it's like from current.
Yeah, so the current was 85. Yeah, so they increased 85.
And before that, it has already been increased to that 85. It was something lower before.
Yeah, no, they're continually increasing his projectile speed. I don't think that's a good way to go. I think they need to keep him. I think 85 was fine. I think that having that speed was fine. It was fast, but it wasn't like instant. And now with the new ability with the storm arrows, and you instantly have a fully charged arrow, that's a 100 speed projectile 6 times, which is insane. I mean,
I don't think they do as much damage though as
they don't. No, they are damage. Yeah, they are reduced damage, but they're always fired at full power, so they're always going the fastest speed.
At the fastest speed. Yeah.
And with 6 arrows, I mean, even reduced damage. If you're a good Hanzo, you're just gonna hit all your
it's
shots.
60 times 80 damage, so that's actually pretty much still.
Yeah, I have a Hanzo on my team who's very happy right now.
Yeah, no, we have a Hanzo Widow player who he plays a lot of hit scan, but he's really good at Hanzo too, so he's pretty stoked about this as well. But I guess moving on to Junkrat, which so Junkrat, this is another big one. A lot of the community has been wanting Junkrat to be changed at least in some way, and I have my own opinions. But so Junkrat, his frag launcher projectile size was decreased from 0.3 to 0.2, and his riptire movement speed was decreased from 13 to 12. Let's start with you, Marty Boy. What do you think of these changes?
More skill into J-Rat or Megalol? Can people handle this?
It's too much. Too much skill.
Yes, it is a good change. Like it reduces the hitbox from the orbs a lot, but still, it's still Junkrat. It wasn't like you were actually aiming it that much.
Yeah.
To begin with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the riptire movement speed is, I don't know how much different it will feel, but 1 point on already 13 points versus 12 points. I don't know how much effect it has in the game, but that doesn't feel like a huge change.
I just think when you'll be able to catch it better coming out of concealed corners, when it will all of a sudden on, let's say, straw man example, Junkertown point B, when you're just coming out that gate and there's that top left window, it'll give you a little more time to shoot it just as it comes out that top.
Yeah, but we're also talking about a little here. An actual little time.
But I think it'll make quality of life better for low diamond and below.
Yeah, no, definitely. I personally really like the change. I think that it's a really interesting way to nerf Junkrat, quote unquote, because it is going to make it at least a little bit harder to hit your shots because your projectile's not as big now. I also think that it helps when you're just spamming into a choke or something. It makes it easier for the enemy team to just sort of dodge those things like you were talking about, Smack Boy. The riptire movement speed decrease, I also really like that too. I kind of wish it was a bit decreased more because I think it's still I think 13 to 12. I haven't tried it out myself, but I feel like that's still pretty fast. I think the big thing, in my opinion though, I think the riptire, the movement speed, if they wanted to nerf it in the movement speed, I think they should have taken the movement speed down a bit more. But personally, I think that the big thing for Riptire is the range that it has. The big explosion just hits people from when you don't think it should kill you, and I think that's a big problem with Junkrat's tire. But at least they're doing something.
Yeah, maybe they could have even buffed the speed and lowered the radius, to a solid degree.
Mm-hmm.
Because its CC potential right now is pretty crazy if you can get it in a crowd.
Oh, absolutely. But moving on to, this is one that I was when I read this, when I saw Lucio was changed, I was like, wait a second, devs Daddy Jeff, what do you mean you're changing Lucio, right? Yeah, I was like, what is this? So Lucio's wall ride, I won't read through it all, so we'll just talk about it here, but wall ride has tons of changes. You can see it on the screen here. And also, I'll mention this one though, the sound wave. So if you guys don't know what
That's
is,
the biggest.
The boop for Lucio no longer consumes ammo. Yes, I love it, but we'll start with you, Smackboy. What do you think of the wall ride changes and the sound wave change?
Lucio carried a Masters here. All right.
Exactly.
So, I am so hype on these changes, man. First of all, I had to practice so much getting. So there's this tech skill that used to exist where, on your final shot, because it consumes 4 ammo per burst, you would melee cancel the last one and try to conserve that last ammo for a boop, because it would let you boop on any ammo. Yeah. But normally it consumes 4. But if you have 2 left, it'll boop. So now I don't have to worry about that ammo consumption. It'll allow me to crowd control a lot better, because that's what I like to use. I use it as a peel a lot of the time, or I'll use it to engage and move a Rhine out of position. But what I like to do is follow it up with a few headshots, because usually it makes it pretty easy to line up that projectile. So this just makes it. Plus, I'm not gonna have to spam right click all the time to jump everywhere. I'll just be able to hold down and do some fancy footwork. I'm so psyched. Yeah. I'm so ready to play Lucio going forward.
I can't. Yeah, absolutely. Same here. What do you think, Marty boy?
About the wall, the boop is perfect. It makes it easier. Nice, and there's so many times that you were shooting it at someone and then you wanted to boop them and it was out of ammo.
And you're just stuck.
You forgot to melee because you're not 1 million IQ. It just makes it easier, right? No, but on higher levels, you won't notice the difference if you've been always canceling with your melee and having that 1 ammo always ready. But now even mid-reload, you've done the boop and you're mid-reload and you had to melee once to kill someone, you're still mid-reload and you got your boop off cooldown again, hey, you can shoot it again. Yeah. So it has a lot of use.
Gives you time to reload.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The wall ride thing, I don't know if anyone has seen it. You should go on the internet. You should go see it, because rip every Lucio main that has spent millions of hours in custom games practicing wall rides, because now a donkey with 1 finger can do it.
It almost seems like I think it was last podcast I was talking about how I thought that Blizzard was trying to increase the skill for heroes and their new heroes, and now it seems like they're you know what? Let's make Lucio the easiest hero to use.
Yeah, no, it's just, I don't get it.
Well, I think the real skill in that wall ride is still going to be preserved, because mostly it's chaining your jumps in order to get those speed boosts, in order to get in or out of the fight.
You can still do your nice wall rides.
Right. So I don't think it's going to be too big a deal, but you are going to see me at some points on Nepal, just around the outside pillars.
It's so easy now. It's so easy. Yeah.
Just
Legion Garden.
Barbershop decorationing, whatever those are.
Do you guys think we're going to go back to the time, I believe it was season 1, season 2, where Lucio would just always be on the inside walls and you would never be able to hit him because people would just stay up there?
Yes.
And then they,
it now takes no trouble. You can still focus all your attention on aiming and shooting everyone.
So you're doing damage.
Hold 1 key. Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. I think that this not only is it a quality of life improvement, they also made it so that when you leap off of a wall, you can start wall riding on the same wall again. You don't actually have to
switch back and forth to climb.
It's ridiculous. Now to be fair, they did. Now to be fair, they did nerf him slightly, I guess, but all the other buffs kind of negate the nerf, where they made it so that his movement speed bonus when leaping off walls decreased from 2.5 to 2.0 meters per second. I don't really think that matters. I think the amount of
might matter in those nice rollouts people have, because you lose a little bit acceleration. You might not be able to touch certain points, but that's a future thing where people just have to find it out.
You're just gonna have to get used to it. I think. I do agree though. There are some times when when you want to get back to the point really fast and you're going from wall to wall to wall to wall, that decrease, it might make it a little harder. But I still think that all of the buffs almost negate this nerf. It's and I would rather have this nerf and all of these buffs than not this nerf and none of these buffs. I
agree.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say another thing is right now playing Lucio and Brigitte is kind of a pain in the neck, and being able to get out of the range of is a ridiculous primary fire can be nice, because there's certain places where like I'm up high on the wall and there's no reason this Brigitte should be swinging at me. Yet somehow she is.
Yeah.
And so like being able to climb up walls faster and just give her the finger is gonna be
it's gonna be beautiful.
Do you guys think? Because I was thinking about this earlier. Do you guys think that all of these buffs for Lucio are in response to the Sombra buffs, making Lucio basically completely useless? Yeah, basically a potato. Yeah, I personally kind of think it is. They're sort of like, okay, Sombra basically says, Lucio, you don't get to play this game anymore when I hack you. Devs are like, let's at least give him a lot of fun stuff.
Well, here's the thing. So it's actually the boop, the sound wave is actually the real the counter to that, because now that it doesn't consume ammo, you can more effectively get on top of Sombras and use them to push him back. Because when you're stuck reloading against a Sombra that's visibly hacking you,
you can't do anything.
Worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
It's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
So that helps you at least a bit.
I also think an insane thing about the Soundwave, I was also thinking about that because I'm also a Lucio player. So I was thinking of the Soundwave. I was just like, one cool thing that you can do with it now is that we were talking about sort of the combos that you can do with like melees and stuff, but you can say you have like say you have like your minimum amount of shots for your primary fire. So you primary fire, use it all, melee afterwards, and then Soundwave afterwards. So you can do like maximum damage that way, because it doesn't take ammo anymore, which is absolutely insane.
Now you don't have to conserve that one ammo for the boop.
Yeah, you can
get a little bit more damage.
Yeah, you could potentially
get one projectile damage.
Yeah, you could potentially get like another punch into, like if it's like an Orisa with like a fortify, you could shoot her with all of your shots. You could shoot her with all your shots, melee her, boop her, melee her again. So you can get like tons of damage out. So I think Lucio is going to be a force to be reckoned with now.
Also, it helps you pin squishies in like little corners.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then just punch them to death.
Just
punch them right in there.
Yeah. Lucio needs to get the Doomfist. I think he needs to become the new Doomfist. Yeah.
Well, I think Hanzo Lucio is an underrated combo, because that boop really sets up his storm arrows if you line up the shot right on some squishies.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right through. You can get 2. If you get headshots, you can go right through 2 people.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, but so moving on. So this one I was happy about, but I was surprised about. So Tracer has finally gotten her first nerf in the entire existence of this game. Her pulse bomb's max damage has been decreased from 400 to 300. What do you guys think of this? Because I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy that they're nerfing her finally.
It's a good thing. It's also a very good change. But on the other hand, at the higher level of play, where your charge time of your pulse bomb is 50 seconds anyway, like, yes, you can't really play like tank killer Tracer anymore. You can't be like, I farm my pulse bomb in 30 seconds of a tank, just throw it on them just to like permanently keep doing damage, right? Now that is like slightly reduced. You can't get that easy one shot on like the 400 health tanks, or if you hit like Reinhardt with his 500, you now need to one clip him. With one clip, I mean deal 200 damage quickly before you can pulse bomb him to get the elim. But on the other hand, if you've been like a high level Tracer with a quick charge time and you've been throwing your pulse bombs away anyway, well, if you missed, it doesn't matter if you missed with 400 damage or with 300 damage.
Yeah.
You're still a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that a big thing with Tracer right now is that... So I'm happy that they're finally at least tweaking her a bit. I think that it's important to have not just a hero that never gets changed, because she needs a change. I was surprised, though, that they changed her pulse bomb instead of other things, because I feel like the strongest part about Tracer is not her ultimate. Her ultimate is almost irrelevant. It's good, don't get me wrong, you can one-shot supports, you can one-shot DPS. It's really good, and I'm glad that they nerfed it, because it is good to have at least something change there. But I think the strongest part about Tracer is her movement ability. Like, her being able to just move around the map completely freely, and also just being able to self-sustain herself with her recall. It's insane. And she can also she can one clip people. Like, if you're good enough, you can just one clip like Zens or Mercies or things like that. So I think the strongest part about Tracer is her movement ability and her ability to just basically do whatever she wants. Like, there's no direct counter to Tracer. which I think is a problem. But I think you were gonna say something, Smackboy. Yeah.
Brigitte is pretty much now the defined,
Yeah.
I would say, counter to Tracer. But I do think the reason why she went untouched for so long, and probably the reason why they didn't nerf her, is because they probably saw her as a necessary sort of cornerstone character of the game. You know, she's the mascot for Overwatch League, where you need that ability to like be super exact with a super high skill character. But I do think the pulse bomb is huge because that's actually a big for the pirate ship meta. Because now she can't pulse bomb a bastion in turret form, does like, I don't know, like 200 something damage. And when he uses regular recon, he was left with 3 health. It doesn't kill him. Yeah, that armor. So that does a lot of things for bastion.
For anyone with armor, anyone that has armor, this is huge.
Well, Ryan, Winston, D.Va, and Mech, Roadhog, Rip.
Well, no, Roadhog. It's actually huge. I mean,
Roadhog
too because his damage reduction. Yeah.
He'll probably be able to heal from 300 back.
Roadhog doesn't give a fuck anymore. He just gets pulse bombs. He presses E. Goodbye pulse bomb.
Rip dive basically is the ultimate thing with this, right? Rip dive.
Yeah, no, I don't think dive is completely ripped. I think dive is still gonna be very powerful, but it's gonna be.
No, it'll be fine.
It's gonna be a little.
It'll be fine. I think.
It should be totally fine. Like there's gonna be a difference, and I really like that Tracer can't be that tank killer anymore.
Yeah,
that's like a really good thing. But other than that, she can still farm the tanks and then throw the pulse bomb instead of on the tanks to kill the tanks. She just throws near a support.
And I think you see the DPS meta shifting towards where long range DPS are trying to be tank killers, except for maybe Pharah. But you use Junkrat and Reaper to bust up quad triple tank. You use Soldier to push back dive in certain situations. They're really gearing towards range DPS being the meta.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Which is a good thing.
Definitely. But I guess one last thing that they did for the PTR changes that I failed to mention. So they are the new escort map, the Rialto.
Italy.
Yeah, so I haven't played it myself yet, but I always love new maps. New maps are always fun, so this will be interesting. What do you guys think?
It's a slightly longer, for the people that don't know it, it's a slightly longer version of the Retribution event map. And you play it like backwards. So from the art gallery, like the big open circular space, that's like the starting spawn point. And in front of that, where you first fight the big, how's it called? Like a heavy assault unit, exactly. The heavy assault unit, that's where the payload starts. It's a full payload map, by the way. And then you just go through the initial starting point, basically. And then there's a new separate area made.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, well, I'm definitely excited to start trying it out on the PTR once I get a chance. So I guess one last thing that is not, they didn't want this to be on the PTR yet, but it's the Horizon changes that we saw a bit of a sneak peek for. I'll put a YouTube video for everyone to see real fast.
Yes, Daddy.
Yeah. So these,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, I just learned about this today as well. Marty Boy was the one who showed me. It is, it's crazy. Like it basically says you don't get to play triple tank on the first point anymore because you can't do anything. You can't go to the left. You can't go underneath. Like, what do you guys think of this? I don't know what my entire opinion is yet. Because I haven't been able to play with it, so.
At the moment, I feel like this is clearly still a test version, and this version of the map seems like highly defense focused. So they moved it. The main problem with it was like offense was too easy, basically. There wasn't that, like, usually they design a map to be 50-50 with winning either on defense or on offense. So then it's a good and balanced map. This was far from the case on Horizon. So they moved it way more to the defense, and I feel like at the moment it's a bit too much at the defense. That's why also they said on the forums, like, this is an accident, we shouldn't have seen this is just in-house testing, there's zero ETA on this, like, no one is knowing when this will be released to the live version, or even to the actual PDR version.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of high ground, new high ground. I like a lot of the point B stuff. I always felt point B was really weak and under-designed. Didn't feel like there's a lot of strategy. It's super open, so it really only favors Mercy. Zen kind of always got stuck out and was really vulnerable to Sombras. It to someone who plays support and doesn't really play mobiles. Well, I play Lucio, but I play a lot of Ana too. It felt like accessing the verticality of the map was a chore. And now that they added a back right place where the widows like to usually pop up with a staircase near spawn, which means you can really try to like stretch it out the way you play comps. You can play more spread comps, and it makes it more viable on a number of different heroes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do kind of like the direction they're taking. Of course, I do think that there's still a couple of changes that they might need to think about and maybe like edit it a little bit more. But again, that to be fair, I mean, this wasn't even supposed to be shown. This was something that they did not want to show, and that they it was an accident.
But I like that they're thinking about it, because there've been a lot of complaints.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I like to know that Blizzard, the dev teams for Overwatch, are not just. It's not a static thing. They're constantly updating, constantly trying new things. Even if we don't hear about it, they're constantly trying to change things. But I guess moving on from that, since we obviously don't know too much about it, you guys saw the YouTube clip, but other than that, we haven't been able to try it out. We haven't heard anything from the devs about it, other than this was a mistake. But so just a quick little update.
So was Symmetra.
Yeah. So just a quick update. So Sim has been now confirmed to be a defense hero. So that's a
nice segue.
After her rework.
Yeah, after her rework, which is pretty cool. So moving off of that, so there was a bit of a bug for the Overwatch for a little bit. It was you were able to play as the bots from Retribution. Now any of them,
any AI entity.
Yeah.
So you could also even play like a Riptire from the Halloween event.
Now,
or those like big nuke kind of things from the initial
detonators?
Uprising event.
The detonators.
Yeah.
The detonators. You could play as those.
Yeah, that's insane. So Marty
It's
Boy,
awesome.
do you two know if this was an exploit, a bug, or was
Exploit,
it was an exploit?
exploit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone has been doing this, you should be banned.
You will get permabanned.
You will get
That's
permabanned.
already
Do
been
not-
said.
yeah,
you will be permabanned.
Yes.
And it's extremely easy to be found out.
Yeah, it's very
I don't-
easy. It's very easy.
I don't think it was even an exploit so much like that. I think they went into the source code for the game.
Yeah, like they just hacked basically.
Oh, so it was.
Yeah.
Oh, so they basically just
Partially.
hacked it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well,
So-
they
from what I
found
read it.
an opening that
Right.
it might have
Sort of a
not
back
been
door,
like
basically.
a full-in hack. It was just an exposed area which they very easily were able to use.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hack with a lowercase h.
Now I believe they did fix this recently, correct? Like, or is this still going on?
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe.
I assume they hot fixed this.
Yeah, I would assume that they did. I assume that.
But I haven't seen like actual Blizzard announcement about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen a Blizzard announcement about it. But if it's not fixed and you do this, don't do this. You will get banned.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, do not try
You
this
just
at
get
home, kids.
permabanned.
We are telling you the news. We're not telling you to do it.
Just do it on your Smurf account. It's fine.
Oh, of course. Don't tell these kids
Or even IP
bad.
banned
Yeah.
and like every account. Oof.
Yeah,
Were
exactly.
they using it in comp or just in QP?
Comp.
Comp? Yeah, I know they were using it in
Yeah,
comp.
they
Yeah,
were
that's
like,
the,
hey,
that's the
if
really
you
bad
already
part.
know you're going to be permabanned, and like might as well exploit it as much as possible.
I
That's
know,
so big.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's the absolutely insane part. But moving on from that, public service announcement: don't do this. You'll get permabanned, unless you want to get permabanned. Which I don't know why you would want to get permabanned, but if you want to get permabanned, do it. I guess don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyways, moving on. So we did get a little quick update that no one was expecting. 6v6 comp elimination. So there's the Twitter post from Overwatch. Play Overwatch. It says, rise up the ranks and compete with the best elimination players in the world. 6v6 competitive elimination is live now. So what do you guys think of this? When I saw this, my people in my Discord or my team was just like, you guys want a 6v6? I'm like, comp? And they're like, no, arcade. I'm like, what? You know?
What? Yeah. Well, it was slightly expected since like the sprays were already in the game before the mode was announced.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about it. Just to be clear, it's also lockout elimination. So if you win one round with a certain hero, you can play that hero.
Which
like
is very interesting.
all the 6 heroes will be locked out if you win the first round, and so on. And it's a best of 3. situation.
Yes.
I've seen more coordination and teamwork and like people picking abilities to like complement each other's in 6v6 lockout elimination than I've seen in any
It's better
game,
than
though.
comp. It's better. This is better than
Basically.
comp rank.
And
People actually
it's
try.
better too. It's better too because not a lot of people play it, so I was able to place GM, and I'm just gonna rake up 1,000 comp points. Just
Yep.
'cause
I think it's
not a lot of people are
insane.
playing it.
I think it's
Yeah.
insane that people try harder in the arcade competitive modes than they do in the actual
'Cause
competitive
it
mode.
forces you to lock out. Like you got
I
one
don't
shot
get
against
it.
comp. Let's make it work.
Roll Q.
Like I got top 500 in competitive CTF. Like that was a big meme, but people took it so serious. I had better compositions in capture the flag competitive than I have in normal competitive. And at that point I was like, this is a problem. Why is this? But hey, apparently it also works for 6v6, so yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
So,
I wonder how it's possible to like incorporate those principles into competitive play in some
roll
way.
Q, smack
Normal
boy,
human
roll Q.
decency.
Roll Q.
No, but like you don't have roll Q in 6v6 or
That's
in
fair, actually.
CTF.
That's fair.
And still people were willing
Yeah.
to work together.
And also, the player base isn't like, so it doesn't
Yeah,
support
that's
that
really
yet.
weird. It's strange to me that people try and work more together in arcade modes than they do in comp. Maybe it's because the arcade mode is new and
It
like you only
attracts the
have
nice people.
It attracts
That's
the
my
nice
theory.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Only nice people go into the arcade.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, anyways, but the arcade mode is up. It's pretty cool. I played it a bit. It's pretty fun. Definitely check it out if you want to, and try hard. But also try hard in normal comp. So
And if you don't want
Please.
to, still play 10 games because free competitive points,
exactly,
you know?
yeah. Even if you
Also,
don't
is
wanna-
there decay? Is there
No.
decay on that?
I don't think.
Yes.
Wait, there is
Right?
decay.
Oh, I didn't look exactly at it, but it looked like the same normal skill with
There's
like
usually
you
there's
drop out your symbol like the same as normal composition.
there's usually not decay for the arcade
Really?
ones. Yeah.
Right, then there's no decay, but you
Then
do
I'll
drop
just,
out like
I'll
the
just
symbols.
park
and
it in
stuff.
GM and just break the tokens.
Well, definitely check. Make
no.
sure there's not decay. I don't remember exactly. I didn't
I'll,
check.
I'll
So.
definitely not take your word on that.
Yeah,
Oof.
but we will move on to the a little change that they did to the Retribution event. So a new patch.
They made it playable.
Yeah. They made it so that the evacuation ship will leave even if one of your teammates is down, which is nice because I lost one time on
Mhm.
Legendary.
Oh, not even
Because-
one time.
Because my teammate decided to dash down into the big boss on the last fight by himself. He died. And then we lost.
Mhm. Everyone has had this experience.
Yeah.
It's always the Genji.
So close to the spray.
Why is it
So
Genji?
close to the spray.
Yeah, definitely. But anyways, so that's a nice
On-
little
on the
change for
topic-
Retribution.
Of Retribution, have you seen the speedrun record?
I have not. What's the
No,
speed
I
run?
haven't.
It's 6 minutes
That's pretty good.
on Legendary.
That's pretty dang.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. Yeah.
Is that
Easy,
that from
easy.
The,
I could do that. I could do that,
The,
yeah.
the streamers cooperation thing that they had going on.
I don't know who it
for
was
Retribution,
anymore.
because I know they announced it. A couple
Yeah,
of
they
days
had like a
ago for
small little
Uprising.
tournament.
Yeah, and it was for speedrunning and they had partnerships with particular streamers. So it's
Yeah.
like a viewing event kind of thing.
No, I just saw the comment like that the speedrun was at 6 minutes. I didn't see who did it.
It's
It
pretty
might have
dang
just
good.
been actual speedrunners like who know like frame perfect tricks in Overwatch.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so it's a nice little change for the evac ship being able to leave now, even if one of your players is really bad at the game.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Bye, Genji.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess moving on for the podcast. So next season 10, for competitive Overwatch, the matchmaker at least. What do we think about the? Obviously, we're getting Brigitte. We'll eventually be getting the new map. We're most likely gonna have I would assume we're gonna have the PTR changes for next season's comp as well. That's usually what they do. So I guess we'll start with you here, Smackboy. What's your predictions? Like, what do you think what compositions are gonna look like in the season 10 for competitive?
Ooh, they're gonna be really cheesy. They're gonna be really cheesy. It's gonna be a lot of armor. We're gonna see what fixes they make to Brigitte going forward, but I think she's gonna be really strong in all elos. It's gonna take a while for people to adjust to her. A lot of far picks are gonna be made. I think 2CP is gonna be a huge pain in the ass.
It's always been.
Yeah,
It will
it's
be
like
bigger.
it's gonna be worse because teams are gonna really be able to dig in on point A's.
Yeah.
and really brawl on the point. I think people are overall gonna stick to what they're comfortable with and let the pros dictate the meta, but we could see some cheese come out with people that just have zany ideas.
My prediction is no one will play the game because everyone hates playing against Brigitte. So it's just season 10 just doesn't
exist. It's a hot take from Mario.
No, like it's gonna be a rough first week. Let's go with that. After that, we'll find out what the weakness is, and then we'll just win. And like then it will go back to normal. But like it's the same when Moira released. Like in the start, everyone thought of it one way and was broken in every single way. And now it's okay. It's very good. It's very powerful, but not everywhere. Not with every composition.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, yeah, I think it's a lot like that. I don't actually think Brigitte is as overpowered as a lot of people think. I think that she's very powerful, but I think the reason a lot of people think she's overpowered is because people haven't learned how to play against her yet. Like you were saying with Moira. Sure. When Moira first came out, everyone was screaming, triple tank, quad tank, it's coming back. Yep. It's just like the Ana meta. And it's just like, it's played.
It was for a bit.
Yeah, it was for a bit, and it's still played sometimes. Like you see it on King's Row, you see it on Horizon Lunar Colony. For now, you see it on you see it sometimes on Hanamura first point attack. You see it every now and then. But it's not like overpowered. It's not overbearing. And it's not even played all the time. So I think although Brigitte will be very powerful, I think that she might disrupt the meta a little bit when she first releases. I think after give it like couple weeks, maybe a month at most, and people are going to learn how to play against her, and she's still going to be powerful, but she's going to be a lot less powerful.
And you're just going to see a lot of spam rat too. I don't know. It's going to be, people are just going to go spam right into
Junkrat and Pharah. They're going to be very, very dominant again.
Yeah. Pharah's going to be, I think Pharah's going to be huge because that's like one of the biggest counters to Brigitte, and if people are scared of Brigitte, they're going to gravitate to the counter for Brigitte.
And that's going to be a lot more farmer scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which means more
Mercy will never die. Don't worry. Mercy will still be 70% of your games.
Oh, of course. Mercy always. I'm as a Mercy one trick. No, I'm just kidding. I see you, Smackboy. You don't like that.
Going cross-eyed here. Wearing an Ana shirt, just like losing my mind slowly.
I love it. Don't worry, one day Ana will have her time again. Just right now, she's pretty bad. I'm sorry.
I have
some
ideas for what I'd like to see them do with her.
Okay, well, go for it. What do you think? What do you think you'd like to see her do for Ana?
Biotic Nade change. It has how Moira's. You know how. Go on. So it sort of works like Moira's her gamer girl P. Yeah, her spray. Her primary. Your primary fire. So you know how it sustains a healing at a certain rate over time. I think that should be should be a function of Biotic Nade, where if Ana can nade herself, she can get like up to 200 HP value out of it, which can still be chipped down, but it heals whatever the division would be over the rate. I think it will last like 4 seconds. Biotic Nade. So
it sort of like does like a passive heal. So it does like the instant healing and then the passive heal as well.
Burst 100 and then passive till 200 HP or whatever they tweak it to.
I could see something like that. I don't know how much
their biggest weakness is. Because their biggest weakness is like, okay, just push when Ana reloads, and it's like, well, now I have no sustainability.
Or just when she uses her bio, like if you see that they use the bio for no reason, it's just like, oh, they don't have 50% extra healing. Just jump the Ana, I like that change. That's a good idea. I could see that like really helping out Ana. I don't want it to be overpowered, so they'll definitely have to make sure that it's not too overbearing.
Right. So people have been throwing out the idea of like a passive heal, like you heal at a rate proportionate to how much you heal your enemies. Or no, your enemies. Yikes!
Don't heal. Don't
heal the reflecting Genji.
Don't throw your grenade at a reflecting Genji, because if they deflect it, if the enemy Genji has any kind of healing, you're doing it wrong.
and then they have a Moira, so then they can just burst heal their entire team at 50% increase. Things I have nightmares about.
Oh yeah. I remember the days when Ana's grenade did 100% extra healing, and
it was so good.
It was ridiculous. You would throw a grenade on a Reinhardt that had this much health, and then a Mercy would just bring him back to full health in like 2 seconds. Yeah, it was absolutely insane.
It was beautiful.
But yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, so but moving on, so we have these Overwatch custom jerseys, I believe, for the Overwatch League. They're interesting. I know that Marty Boy, you wanted to talk about the price.
Finally get your own number and your own name on it.
It's very
Marty
nice.
Boy.
You want to spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah, so I
very
believe it's $100 US.
Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
so $100
And
US.
$70 for the basic any number from like any name and number combination from one of the players, and 60 for just a plain T-shirt with no name and number.
Yeah. So you don't like that. You don't like that it's $100, right? You think that's a bit too much.
They took my money. Give it back.
I've already ordered 2 Overwatch League jerseys, so I need
Custom
to
one, custom ones, or
no.
okay.
No.
So now you feel bad because you
Smack-
didn't?
Smack Boy is gonna get his jersey though, but yeah, no, I just can't right now. But I do want to do it. Like I don't know, the price point isn't too intimidating for me. I'm a big sports fan as well, so I've been purchasing like knockoff, old school NBA jerseys and football jerseys in the past.
Yeah.
So like, it's not the
It's
worst
not
thing
like
going on.
the 100 isn't too much,
But
it's just
relative to the other price
relatively it
points,
feels bad.
Yeah,
Like,
it
From
does
70
feel
to 100 is just too big of a gap for putting another number and another name on it.
It does
That's
feel
my
a,
main problem
it
with
does feel a bit relative to the other prices. It feels a bit
Yeah.
off. I don't care too much though about it because like I understand. I mean, they're a business. They're trying to make some money.
Yeah,
I'm
of
okay
course,
with
of
it.
course.
I mean, obviously as a consumer, I kind of wish it was a little cheaper. But in the end, it's like I'm probably if I ever bought one, I'm probably just gonna buy like 1 or 2. So it's not gonna like rob me, But it is a nice thing that they're at least offering it for the players to have their own Houston Outlaws T-shirt or jersey, should I say? Because no one wants any of the other ones except maybe Shanghai Dragons. Some people like to be bad at this game, so. I'm throwing shots right now.
I'm dead.
But we'll get to that. Actually, we'll get to that in just a bit. But the next thing we have is there was an article that the Overwatch League recently posted on their website, and it's called "Exceeding Expectations," and we have tons of stats. It's absolutely insane, and we're not gonna go over all of them here, but we will go over at least one. So I have here on the screen the expected deaths versus the actual team deaths for the season.
Really cool.
I thought this was really cool. Yeah. So we can see that most of the teams are sort of in the middle there with like London Spitfire up to San Francisco Shock, with San Francisco Shock almost being an outlier. But then we have a couple outliers. So the main outliers here, obviously Shanghai Dragons, Dallas Fuel, Mayhem, and New York Excelsior. So this makes sense that these are sort of the outliers. What do you guys think of this?
Well, Dallas Fuel is still on the trend. I mean, they're just super far up. I think, yeah.
One quick explanation. Expected deaths is based on the damage received and calculated like a Tracer has 150 health, a Diva has 750 because like she's 600, and then the baby Diva. And only then it's a full death. So expected deaths is literally the damage you took on the heroes you had, and you just assume everything just kills. Nothing gets healed back up.
Yeah.
So if you would only be taking damage you've received in the entire game, you would have died X amount of times.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
yeah, that's a good point.
In the graph that we're showing, the dotted line is just an arbitrary trend line based on like the middle cluster.
Yeah.
It's not a specific line. You're doing good if you're above, or you're doing bad if you're below. It's just arbitrary.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a guideline, but it is interesting to see that Shanghai Dragons is very far up there, and New York Excelsior, I will say they're not very far up or very far down. They're just a little bit lower, which obviously is a good thing though, which means they're taking a lot less damage and they're dying a lot less than every other team in the league.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, again, they're one of, if not the best team in the world. So
yeah,
no, for sure.
And I think these stats really do tell a story. If you look at this graph here, we know that New York Excelsior, to be, they're a pretty defensive team, and it's not surprising to me that they have the lowest expected deaths and actual team deaths, because they're really good at bailing out of fights when they lose like one major
They know when to disengage very
yeah,
well.
they disengage, get together, and then they're always 6 for a fight. But what I'm looking at so the expected deaths, the teams that have expected deaths, more expected deaths than actual deaths are Philly, Seoul, and London. And that to me is actually a testament to their support play. I don't know if you were watching the Philly NYXL game yesterday, but Philly was just getting reses off when they shouldn't have been. The support play was outstanding. We all know how good Toby and Jaehong are, and also Woo Hyul has really been stepping up on the Zen lately. I think they've he had an amazing game yesterday. And I think there's stuff to be read. What actually does surprise me is Houston right now.
Houston has more deaths than should be
more
expected.
deaths than expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
And their defense. I know them to be a defensive team, which means either there's something wrong with the way they're playing their tanks, which I just read from watching their games, or there's something else that I can't detect there.
Yeah, definitely. I think another interesting one is, like you pointed out with Dallas Fuel, they're sort of basically exactly on the guideline, but they're also dying a lot. You know, they have the second highest deaths and the second highest expected deaths. I guess the kind of good news is that they're not dying more than expected, but they're also not dying less than expected. They're dying exactly where I guess they should be, which I guess is kind of a good thing. I guess that means you're just playing like the average. And then we obviously have Shanghai Dragons, which is dying more than they should be. But poor Shanghai Dragons. Poor Shanghai Dragons. Everyone wants Shanghai Dragons to win.
Guri had such a good game against Seoul. I feel so bad for that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously Florida Mayhem is also dying a bit more than they should be. But all the other ones are they're around where they should be. Even like you were mentioning.
If you're looking at that, like if you look at people that are about the same actual death, so let's say you look at Philly, Seoul, and Los Angeles Valiant, right? They're all about between 32 and 33 actual team deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Valiant has taken only damage equal to like 101 deaths and died 32 times, while Philly has taken damage equal to 105 deaths while only dying 32 times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just straight up statistic.
Yeah.
Basically saying that the supporters of Philly are just doing better in keeping everyone alive.
Yeah.
They're absorbing more damage or regenerating more damage than the support of Seoul and from Valiant. Yeah, which is really nice statistics to see.
Yeah, one thing I also find very interesting is that the three that are like exactly on the line, so they're dying exactly how much they should be expected to, is Dallas Fuel, San Francisco Shock, Los Angeles Gladiators, and then New York Excelsior, which so that basically, in New York Excelsior obviously has the lowest expected and deaths in general, which is very good. It's very positive, but they're exactly on the line. They're dying exactly how much they should be expected to. And I think Smackboy, you brought up how they disengage very easily or very well. So they're always get their full team fight, and they're working I think that when you're on that line, it means that you're working really well as a team. You're not necessarily playing better than like your expected stuff should be, but you're not playing worse. You're playing just very consistently, you know?
Right. Like the major difference between Philly and LA isn't necessarily support skill, but also keeping supports alive. Which is a lot to do with the peel. I don't understand actually how Philly has that, because unless their supports are playing absolutely out of their mind, Fraggy does not peel for his backline very much.
Maybe the supports are just in really good position.
They're doing something right.
It's really hard sometimes to know if the supports are in like perfect positioning, because the only support they show us is J. Jonah.
Basically. But that's not even a support, so.
He's not even support, he's triple.
He's a DPS. Yeah, oh yeah. He's definitely a DPS.
So good.
He's so good. Oh my. Yeah, no, I mean, literally, we talked about it last podcast. The change for Zenyatta's orb, it is the J. Jonak nerf. I mean, that's what it is.
It's definitely a Jonak nerf. Just a little bit of a Jaehong nerf too. Although Jaehong hasn't really been doing anything too crazy.
See, here's my thing with Jaehong. I think that Jaehong is an outstanding and a very consistent player, but I think J. Jonak is a player that not only is consistent, he's always popping off. Like he's always getting crazy kills where like he shouldn't be getting those kills. Like teams should not be dying to these things, and they are, you know.
He's just fragging out. Yeah, he's a transformative talent on the roster.
And he's so consistent. Like, he's not only consistent with like keeping himself on, keeping his team alive. He's consistent with killing the enemy team. Like, it's not like he's just doing this every now and then. This is like every game he's getting like tons of just random kills because he just
now that he knows how to press Q, his Zenyatta is the best thing. No, seriously, in stage 1 he didn't know how to press Q. Yeah. He did not know how to press Q, but now he figured it out. The coaching staff, hats off to Wizard. They really got him whipped into shape.
Every day he woke up, he had a big press Q sign above
his bed. Press Q right above his bed.
His cereal was in the form or in the shape of Qs.
You don't have to kill the Genji every time. You don't have to kill him every time. Sometimes you
just
can
press Q.
It's like, we get it. You'll kill him, but your team will also die. Like, we understand that you can kill the Genji when he's blading, but sometimes your team... Yeah, not everyone can do that on your team.
Someone else can do that if you need to.
Exactly. But I guess moving on from that, so we had a bit of news for the Dallas Fuel, and I feel like Dallas Fuel is always in the Overwatch League news. They're always doing something, either controversy or something going on with a roster. So we have a Twitter post from the Dallas Fuel, and they said, Coach Kyle Suter, however you pronounce his name. Excuse me if I mispronounce your name.
Kai.
Kai. So Coach Kai and the DPS player Dongjun Rascal Kim have been released from the Dallas Fuel. So Rascal is not on the Dallas Fuel anymore, and Kai is not their not their head coach anymore. What do you guys think of this? Oh, I'll also put up here's a little message from I believe it was from Rascal. Yeah, I believe it's from Rascal. Yeah.
It's a translation of his post.
This is just one. There's a lot of other ones too. We can link them for you if you want to see those. But yeah, so what do you guys think of these changes from the Dallas Fuel?
I also read a bit into the AMA the owner of Dallas did.
Oh yeah, he did do that's another thing. Yeah. He did a Ask Me Anything on Reddit. We'll also link those.
Look it up on Reddit if you want some basic information, common questions asked. And in there, it basically was said, we sat around the table with everyone, and we asked, do you want to keep Kai? Like, one of the points that people made were like, hey, why kick Kai from the roster or from the support staff? And why not just keep him on as an assistant coach or something like that? And basically he just said the team did not want that. They just wanted him gone. So apparently there was a very big opinion in the team that they were very unhappy with Kai. So that's the most important thing as a coach. You need to have a good relationship with your team. You might be extremely smart about the game and know every good strategy and how to execute everything perfectly and train your team and everything that has to do with coaching. But if your team doesn't like you, doesn't respect you, you come nowhere. So I feel like it's a good decision that they removed Kai now. And with Rascal,
I sleep.
It's gonna be a feels bad, man.
Yeah, Rascal is a great player.
He can't get picked up now too. The cutoff's over. You can't pick up new players.
Yeah,
he's done for the season. Yeah, that's terrible.
I believe he's still getting paid though. They don't actually have to keep paying him, but I believe they are still paying him.
I think they do, because they're nice people over Dallas.
In the post or in his post, I believe, if I can find it.
But also in the AMA, there's more information about what like the Dallas organization was feeling they should have done about the whole Rascal situations. So if you want to know more, read into that.
Yeah, definitely. I also did hear another thing about the coach. I believe that they also mentioned that one of the big reasons why they were letting him go too is they felt like they just needed a change. They felt that Kai just had done all he could. Like he wasn't able to just like it wasn't that he was doing bad per se. It was just that he wasn't giving anything else that they could. And also, to be fair to Kai, it's not entirely his fault. I mean, he's barely had a full roster, like a consistent full roster to coach, like basically the entire OWL.
He's a very good coach still.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure he'll
not the good coach for Dallas.
Yeah, I also think he loved Mickey too much. I'm sorry, but Seagull's a better diva. Seagull just has the game sense that like Dallas needed. Like you could see it against NYXL when they threw him in for the first time. Oh my God, massive change. New York was on their heels for all of Hanamura. I was watching that game with a bunch
Miki
of
also played
supporters.
very well in Winston as well. So
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and their coordination wasn't bad. I just think because Seagull has a storied history of being a DPS player, throwing him on basically a DPS tank with a lot of utility and utilizing his game sense, where Seagull could theoretically retire after the season, become a coach, and be a very good coach. I think throwing him on
that's
a
an
role
interesting one. Yeah.
I mean, he could. I don't know if he will. I'm sure he would prefer to be a player, but he's got that game sense. He has the knowledge to do it.
If he gets to play, he wants
Yeah.
to be a player.
Yeah,
Well,
I would argue that
he has been playing. He did play the other day, I believe, on Diva, and he did well.
Yeah, no, I
No,
would
he will
argue
get
that
some moments for sure.
Yeah, I would argue that if he has a lot of really good game sense, which it seems like he does, then he'd probably be a better coach, because I don't want to be mean to Siegel. I don't think he's really as amazing of a player as a lot of people want him to be. He's a great streamer, but I don't think I don't think he's bad for the league. Like, I think he's good enough to be in the league, but I think they could definitely find a better player.
But I think he's good for the league as a presence, and I think
absolutely.
Overwatch benefits from Siegel's presence, and having him in OWL in some capacity is always going to be good.
Of course, absolutely. But I guess moving on from Dallas Fuel's, I would not call this drama, but changes, I suppose. We'll move on to the current standings, and we'll first talk about the entire league standings, and then we'll talk about the stage standings. So first, with the entire league standings, as you can see on the screen, obviously New York Excelsior is still in the league with a plus 55%. Casually, yeah. Like I think it's absolutely amazing that New York Excelsior, they've only lost 3 times so far. They have a plus 55 differential, like no one else is even close. No one else is even close. The second highest is Seoul Dynasty with a plus 20. That's 35 below. Now,
and they're 15-8, right? They're 15-8.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's now updated with like current week, so it's 17-8.
17-8, right?
Oh yes, exactly. Oh, actually, it looks like the league actually has it a bit off. It actually looks like London Spitfire is actually in second with a plus 31. They don't have it updated apparently.
Yeah.
No, they do, because it's the map differential that's not equal to your score.
True. You are correct there. Yeah. So they don't have. So Seoul's not the second highest map differential, but they are the second highest score. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, but if you look at like the second map differential, which is London with plus 31, and then the third map differential, which is Valiant with plus 22.
Yep.
Hey, if you combine those numbers, that's still less than 55.
That's still less than 55.
Just letting you know.
Oh man.
I mean, New York is just a phenomenal team, right? They've lost 3 times, and every time they lose, I mean, they still play well. I mean,
3-2. Every loss has been a 3-2.
Yeah.
And every
that's how they
win
preserve their match. Yeah. 4-0.
The wins have been always like basically going for the 4-0s.
Yeah, and
with a few exceptions.
Yeah, and I can tell you for a fact that the New York community is going crazy over the New York Excelsior.
Oh,
I'm sure. I've been involved.
Crazy.
Yeah, I've been involved in this community. The 5 Deadly Venoms, which I'm sure you've seen on Waypoint and the commercials. We meet at the Waypoint Cafe down in Chinatown, and we have big viewing parties, and like 40 people show up for Wednesday games, and everyone's super into it. Yeah, the enthusiasm, like it's feeling more and more like a traditional sport,
which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that it's
That's
starting to become
great
a traditional sport. Yeah, it's fantastic. But New York, I don't think, at least not this season, they're gonna be in the lead. I mean, I've even heard arguments that like right now the matches that they're losing, like they lost against Boston, they're not really actually trying that hard right now because they don't want to burn themselves out, because they know that they have the playoff spot. Like they've got it. Like there's no question. They could literally lose all of their games and they still have it. So I've heard arguments. One of my teammates, he was like, yeah, they're not trying right now because they don't want to burn themselves out,
Right. That's why I was getting frustrated watching the Boston Uprising game when we lost. When they lost in 5. They were trying this Roadhog, Orisa, Sabiel, Beyond McCree.
It's very strange.
Junkrat Strat, and it was
interesting.
We were
like, what are you doing?
We were all at Waypoint Cafe bowling our hairs out. Like, why are you throwing this game now? And I mean, like, it's fine. New York Excel loses 1 every stage. They've lost 1 every single stage.
Yep.
Philly, London, and and are the only 3 losses.
They
in the
just
regular
keep
season.
rotating through everyone. They
Yeah.
might even give Shanghai a win every now and then. You know?
We'll see stage 4.
Hey,
How
sure they have
much
to
hair
lose to someone,
how
so-
much hair would you be pulling out at your cafe if they lost to Shanghai?
That's the moment that everyone is like, okay, this is rigged. Okay, goodbye.
So much so that I would not be able to come back on podcast for a month.
Oh, I'm sure. But I guess so. There's the league standings. New York at first, Seoul at second, Boston at 3, London at 4, Los Angeles Valiant at 5, and then the other ones 6th and up. No one cares about anymore. But moving.
That 5 for 6 is gonna be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but moving on to the stage. So stage 3, we have the Valiant with at the front, which is
It looks so much better, so less Korean, you know?
yeah, absolutely. And New York's
With the
actually
fake Koreans, but
New York's at 3rd actually in the stage with Boston in 2nd and Valiant at 1st. This is I find this fascinating. This is very interesting. It's week 2.
It's week
beautiful.
It is week 2.
It's week 2. It's
Yeah.
week 2. Didn't Valiant lose to Gladiators? If I'm not mistaken.
Let me check.
The other day.
yes, they did.
Yes. No.
Yesterday.
Valiant. Oh, yes. No. Valiant. No, on Wednesday, Valiant beat Gladiators.
Oh,
Yeah, 3. It
Wait,
was a 3-2.
Wasn't that what you said?
then it was a 3-2. Then do they-
Valiant won, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Valiant won.
I
Yes.
had it
Yeah.
backwards. I had it backwards. So they have yet to lose this stage.
Yes. Yeah, they're 5-0.
They're looking really strong. Agility's been popping off. I'm not surprised. The addition of Bunny was a huge pickup from them.
Oh,
Space-
Bunny's been playing phenomenally.
Yeah, and Space
Bunny
has
has
been
been doing
really great
well.
on the Diva. They
And-
really leveled up their game.
Yeah,
What
no,
we earlier talked about in the previous podcast with Costa going away from the Dallas and he was in a shot calling position, you can already hear in the comms of the Valiant, he's taking, and again, that shot calling position a lot more and helping the team out a lot in that way too.
Gotta love that.
So that's
LG
very
accent.
great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Valiant, their player pickups have been huge for them. It's gonna definitely benefit them in the long
This
run.
Saturday, LA Valiant versus NYXL at 6 p.m. That's gonna be a huge game. That's
gonna
gonna
be
probably,
good.
it's probably determine the top spot for this stage because
Absolutely.
if
Yes,
NYXL
yeah, for sure.
NYXL wins that, and there's no way they're losing the stage because the LA Valiant just looks so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think something interesting. We talked a little bit about it, but to see them actually play extremely well without this player at Boston Uprising, they lost Dream Casper and they beat New York Excelsior. I mean, Mistakes was just playing his mind out. I think Mistakes just played phenomenally on Boston Uprising. They did such a good job without one of their star DPS players, you know. So
Good riddance.
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely.
no love lost there. Just
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone cares. I mean maybe you're mad that they lost a good player, but I mean come on, like
yeah,
he should
no.
be out of the league.
Reasons
Yeah.
were clear.
Yeah.
Bye.
Very clear.
Very
Yeah.
clear. Yeah. But we won't get into all that. If you want to learn about that, go look it up yourself. Blizzard or Overwatch League has put out their statements. We talked about that last podcast. So has Boston Uprising. So if you want to get into that, you can look into it yourself. I'm sure you can find it with a simple Google search. But I guess
Big yikes.
yeah, absolutely. But moving on from the current standings, so we'll look at our old predictions from last podcast. If I can pull that up real fast. So I guess so. Shanghai Dragons versus Los Angeles Valiant. Everyone agreed that Valiant was, or I'm sorry, Gladiators. Excuse me. God, I always get the Los Angeles mixed up. But yes, Gladiators. So we all agreed that
LAV
Gladiators.
and LAV.
Yeah, we all agreed that Gladiators was gonna win. Shanghai lost. Los Angeles versus San Francisco Shock. So, oh yes, Los Angeles Valiant versus San Francisco Shock, which was myself and Marty Boy thought Valiant was going to win, and Jason thought that
Jason believed.
yeah, Jason thought that that Shock was going to win, which did not happen. So
Yeah.
so Valiant won that one.
Sounds like some Sinatra worship, if you ask me.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
Yeah, and then so the next one is Seoul Dynasty versus Dallas Fuel. We all believe Seoul Dynasty was gonna win, but to be fair to Dallas Fuel, it was a 3-2. So
It was a 3-2, but on the other hand, it was also Seoul being Seoul again in current stage.
yeah, Seoul has this stage.
Running
They've
Vito.
been.
They're doing their thing.
It seems very strange. Some of the compositions they're running, they're not running like Toby and Ryu Jaehong a lot anymore, and it's like, why are you not running this more often? You know, I don't.
Could it be the same thing that we? I think was it you, Marty Boy, or was Pirate King that said that NY wasn't trying to burn themselves out.
It could be that. Definitely could be that. Yeah.
It could be like they really seem to be sandbagging through everything.
I think they're hiding their power level because they're doing exactly what it is to be third in the third in the overall stand, or they're second now because London keeps losing and they're actually throwing games.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're doing exactly what it takes.
They're a steady second.
And that's all they need. And then when the playoffs come, the NBA teams are doing this right now in the playoffs. They're just turning it up, leveling up as a team, showing their true power level, and blasting through opponents.
Yeah,
I expect to see them really turn their A game up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Seoul's gonna start playing better once they start getting closer to the playoffs, and hopefully they're in the playoffs. So next one we had Boston Uprising versus New York Excelsior. Now Marty Boy and myself were like, New York's gonna win. Probably the best team, if not the best team in the Overwatch League, if not in the world.
This was also still based on the fact that we had no clue how they would recover from losing Dreamcasper.
Absolutely,
because beforehand there were many occasions where Dreamcasper was really popping off.
Yeah,
and he seemed to be actually quotation mark carrying them through certain victory moments.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that most people would probably agree that New York had the advantage here. Jason, though, our last week's guest, was like, no, Boston Uprising is going to win. And I think he made an interesting argument. He said that New York Excelsior does not have the data on like mistakes and on like how they're going to have to play against this new no Dreamcasper comp. And I feel like that worked out in Boston's favor. So Boston did win, which was a very big surprise to me. I was surprised, and I was happy though. I mean, I always love it when New York loses. No offense, Smack Boy.
I roll.
Yeah. But next,
look.
Oh, sorry, you go. Yeah.
No, just look. Like they didn't run their normal. They were running McCree, Orisa on Oasis. Like we saw what they can run with. They run their normal dive when they beat Fusion yesterday.
Yeah.
On that map pool, when they run their normal hero pools, they can't.
They took a good moment to experiment, but in the end, they experimented and it did lose them the game, or they lost the game. Like
I just lost the game. Thanks.
In my opinion, I would still say like Boston did play very well against NYXL, and like they did deserve to win, and it wasn't really given to them by NYXL in any way.
Yeah,
right. They were trying on that. They were. Oh yeah,
Boston played very well. Like, there's no doubt.
No, nothing to. But like as a New York fan, I'm not particularly concerned if we do meet in the playoffs, just because like I know that they were trying to like prep for stage 4.
I don't think New York fans ever have to be concerned, do they? Really? I mean, they have like the best. They have the best players.
The moment J. Jonah
and then next stage they just crushed the stage 2. They were just like, yeah, we're just gonna win, well, to be fair, Philly did give them a hard time, but Philly
had us scared, man.
Yeah, but moving on to Florida Mayhem versus London, we all agreed, Marty Boy, myself, and Jason all agreed that London Spitfire was going to win, and they wiped the floor 3-0. Next one, Philly. Hey, oh yeah.
1 point about Spitfire Mayhem. Mayhem got a draw.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't slack on that draw.
It's true.
Yep.
It's true. No, they did indeed get the draw, which I mean, good on Florida Mayhem. I mean, they're definitely improving.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Yep. They keep on improving.
Eventually, Dante's on Shock, not on Florida.
Dante on Florida. No.
Yeah.
Dante's a beast though.
Yeah, Dante is crazy. Yeah, but Florida has been improving a lot. I've been seeing a lot of every time I watch them, it seems like it's like Shanghai. They're getting better as well. I guess moving on though. So Philadelphia Fusion versus Houston Outlaws. Marty Boy and myself as Houston fans, I even thought they were going to win. I feel like Houston's such a strong team, and it was so close when I was watching that.
I believe.
And when they lost on that last map because it was a 3-2, I was my soul, my heart just dropped.
I do like Houston a lot. I love them as a Western team. That's felt bad, man.
Yeah. But Jason was correct with Philly winning. But it was an extremely close game. If you guys have not seen that, I would suggest watching it. As well as the Boston New York Excelsior game. Both of those games were
quality game.
Were very, very highly skilled and amazing games.
Stage 3 has had some amazing matches so far.
Absolutely.
Including last night. That Philly New York game had me up like wired at 1 a.m. just bugging out.
Yeah, absolutely. But moving on to Valiant versus Dallas, Marty and Jason thought Valiant was gonna win. It's not on here on the screenshot, but I actually thought Dallas was gonna win. I believed.
Believing in Dallas.
Yeah, I was wrong. I
Sorry,
felt like
that's mean.
Yeah, I felt like they were gonna win because they have been at least improving a bit. They've been seeing
Yeah.
better communication, better skill, or better teamwork. So I thought that they could pull it through. I'm not surprised that they lost though. They did get a win off though on it. Shanghai Dragon versus Shock. So we all thought that Shock was going to win. I think we all wanted Shanghai to win, but we all were like, okay, Shock's probably going to win.
We always want Shanghai to win, right?
Exactly.
They need that win.
Yep. Shanghai did get a map off of Shock though, and I think we can all agree, well, at least maybe we can all agree, disagree with me if you want, but I think we can all agree Shanghai have been improving insanely well. Like ADO and Gaguri and just their whole team is just like, it feels like they're an actual team now. It feels like they know what each other's or what they're all doing. They know how to play properly. Fearless is doing an amazing job on tank. Gaguri obviously is doing an amazing job. ADO though, like I didn't realize how amazing he was, but like he's doing so well. Like he's just playing amazingly.
He's a little inconsistent, but that mostly comes from coordinating with his tanks, and that's part of the language barrier too.
Yeah,
I think once they iron stuff like that, yeah, Otto's had some really sick shows on Genji. He's also had some questionable like Dragon Blades on Genji, but like overall
there have been a couple things. Yeah,
their trajectory they just look so much more viable, and they look like they're actually playing the game now.
Yeah, it looks like they're like you said, they're
That's
actually
a good
playing.
thing, you know.
It seems like they're actually trying to win now, you know, and they're putting up a fight. Like they're.
Although I really did enjoy watching that tank that they were running in stage 2 when they were trying to like finally figure out with MG on MG on the Hog. He was doing really well on, or they maybe had Dia. No, Dia was like on the Widow or something. But yeah,
I believe Dia was on the Widow.
Yeah, but they ran some interesting comps, and I still root for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up was the Soul versus the Gladiators. Marty Boy and Jason thought Gladiators were gonna win. I thought Soul. I am really bad at this apparently. So I was wrong. I think Soul's still one of the best teams in the league.
They are, but they're a bunch of sandbags. You know?
Yeah.
So they will give every free win to a team that can contest them.
Yeah, so I was pretty sad that Soul lost, but again, I'm not entirely surprised. Gladiators is a phenomenal and amazing team.
Yeah.
Next up was London versus Philly Fusion, and I lose again. Oh my goodness! I thought London was going to win. Fusion took the win. I'm just bad at this apparently. So I thought London was gonna win. I feel like they're like the second best. They have such good like.
You can't bet on London anymore these days, man.
I know they've been falling off. They've been falling off.
But that's because they become so predictable. They become so predictable. Like they're gonna dive you. They're gonna play. So you just have to bait like the tank out. Just punish one tank.
I also feel like
Swarm and move in.
Yeah, I also feel like Birdring has just not been playing as well as he was before. Like he used to like be so consistent and do all these crazy things, and now it feels like he's just kind of falling off. And I don't know if that's the team's fault or if he's just not feeling it right now.
They also haven't been playing him as much too. I've noticed they've been throwing Badojin, Wuhyao.
Yeah, definitely.
Prophet. They've been throwing a lot of different looks. That I've seen Birdring come in sometimes on CP.
Have you seen Prophet on Oasis? I don't know what point it was, where he just randomly threw a pulse bomb into a wall and then looked at it for a second.
I saw that, yeah.
And looked at it and then took a lot of damage, and then the whole fight was over.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. High level play.
That's probably why he gives the middle finger to the camera.
Yeah, that's why.
The babyface assassin.
Fruit yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah,
man, I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah, they've been falling off recently. But moving on, so we have New York Excelsior versus Houston Outlaws. All of us, Jason, myself, and Marty Boy, all believed that New York Excelsior was going to win, and we were correct. New York Excelsior won. I wanted Houston to win though, and they almost did. It was so close.
Oh,
it was
so good. I loved it, but in the end, NYXL is NYXL, and they play Pine, and Pine is unfair.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah. So moving on, Florida Mayhem versus Boston. Marty Boy, myself, and Jason all believed that Boston was going to win, and they did. They're an amazing team. To be fair, Florida did take 2 maps off of them, which is good on Florida. But I think that Boston's just so good at this game. So they won that, which I don't think that we have much argument for that. I mean, Boston's just amazing.
Yeah, I just want to see Florida get better. I was a really big fan.
I was really happy with Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was really happy with the fact that they did take 2 maps off Boston. since Boston was doing very well, they still took 2 maps of them. So
Yeah, no,
I really
absolutely.
see
Good on Florida. Florida's been playing a lot
good
better.
trend in Florida's play.
It's just like they're like Shanghai, like Florida, and actually all 3 of the what I would consider probably the worst teams right now, being Florida, Shanghai, and Dallas. They're all improving very well. Like they're getting better. They're working on their communication. They're playing this game. Like Marty, I think you always like to point out like they're not really playing the game, and now they kind of are actually playing.
They're starting to do it again.
Exactly, which is
absolutely great.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. But moving on to our last little segment, we're going to talk about the matches this week that have happened, and then we'll make a couple little predictions, I guess, for some of the matches today. So
if you haven't seen it, go watch the Battle for LA. It's amazing. Like 1, the crowd is amazing.
So tense.
And 2, it was a beautiful match.
Yeah. And the alternating chants of shields up, wings out, shields up.
Oh, that was so nice.
Yeah. So much tension. It was,
Yeah, absolutely. But Valiant did win in the end against Gladiators. I like Gladiators a bit more than Valiant, I think. But I do think Valiant probably has the better roster. Bunny was just playing.
Valiant probably has the better roster, yeah. But like Gladiators, from like stage 1 to stage 2, now stage 3, they've been improving so much.
Oh yeah, Hydration is also like amazing.
I love Hydration.
Hydration is great. He has such a big hero pool, and he's like the only actual Doomfist player in the league. Like, and he plays so well.
I love when he busts.
Yeah, oh absolutely, it's insane.
But then they have Fissure, and Fissure was like, "Hey, this is how you dive." And suddenly they started to win.
Oh, absolutely.
And Bishu being the translator for Fissure and the rest of the team is huge too, because he's in an off-tank role. So they're mostly gonna be trying to coordinate what they do. So that him being in the like sort of like keystone.
That really helps. Like that was also one of the things that was said in like the AMA from the Dallas owner. Like they needed more translators. That they needed better communication at all times with like the non-English speaking players, and having Bishu like being able to play at a high level while also translating between the 2 nationalities or like language parts of the team. It's actually great. It gives Gladiators such an edge versus the other like part Korean, part American teams or part English speaking teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on between the headphones.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. But moving on to the Dallas versus Shock game, that was also on Wednesday. Shock 4-0'd Dallas. So I'm not too surprised. Shock is an amazing team.
It's a good showing of Shock.
Yeah, they've been
shitty showing of Dallas.
Rip Doc and rip Baby Bang though.
Yeah,
for the Shock.
Yeah, definitely. But moving on to the next one, Seoul Dynasty versus Shanghai Dragons. Seoul did win, but Shanghai taking a map off of Seoul.
That control map.
Yeah, no,
Shanghai, right?
Yeah, I think Shanghai, like every time they get a win, even when they're not getting a win now,
they're getting closer.
They're getting so close. They're playing so well. They just need a little bit more.
Gaguri had like 5 bolty kills on Blizzard World, man. She popped off. And she was really good on Elios
too. She was doing great.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one was Houston versus Florida. Houston won 3. Florida did take a map though. I believe Florida took the first map if I remember correctly, and then Houston got the next 3. I'm not too surprised at that. I think Houston's a much better team than Florida, even though I'm a huge fanboy for them. I do think that they do just have a better lineup and they just work together better than Florida. But Florida, still improving a lot, and I think that taking a map off Houston is very impressive. Next one, we have Boston versus London. Boston won. London took 2 maps off of them. Again, I think we talked about it earlier. London's just kind of been falling off, and Boston's been going up. So
up and up.
Yep, up.
Boston's really threatening. They're basically turning into what Houston was supposed to be after stage 1.
Yeah, they kind of are. Absolutely. Next one, New York Excelsior wins against Philly Fusion with a 3-2. Again, Philly playing so well. I mean, they took 2 maps off of New York. I see you there. I see you, Snapboy. Your team's losing. Your team is gonna start losing soon. Teams are getting
even better.
Yeah, it's
when?
a reverse sweep.
I mean, just tell me when it happens, because it's not happening.
That's fair. But yeah, both of these teams absolutely amazing. New York did get the win, however, a little bit more amazing.
No, they looked all over the place with the lineup. Going out. I don't feel like he's right for the roster. Mono is better at like sort of like soccer momming everybody. It's like, all right, come on, guys, getting in the van. Janice is like,
Let's
I'm
go.
gonna jump, and everyone's like, no, and because watch the overheads that they were showing at halftime, you could see on like Anubis where they would just bait Janice into these jumps. They just surround him and focus him down. And then, New York likes to play defensive. So the rest of the starting five are cornered in the back left of point B. And they're just like, what do we do now?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No.
So they made good adjustments there. They were able to bait out Fraggy. They knew Fraggy would feed if they gave him a chance to feed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fraggy fed.
Yeah, another thing I also want to point out about New York. I watched with the All Access Pass. I saw Pine. I don't remember. I think it was
the AMA.
Yeah, the AMA with Pine. It was really interesting because it made me feel better about like as a normal player. And I think if you have the opportunity to check it out, because they asked him an interesting question like, how do you get so good at this game, or at Widow specifically? And he's just like,
the classic AMA question.
Yeah. He wasn't like he actually even went into detail. He was like, some people think that it's like talent, or that you're like born with it or something like that. And he's like, no, it's effort. Like, yeah, there's a bit of talent in there, like obviously, but he's like, just put in the effort, put in the time, and you'll get good at this game. And I think that's a good message for anyone who's struggling a bit. Like, just keep practicing.
Yeah, but they need to get better at filtering those questions, because 4 of those questions were all like, how do you get good at McCree? Tips for McCree, tips for Widow, aiming and tracking. And it's like, these are all the same question.
Like the classic questions, how to become you.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, I think I will say, I think they should. I think like if you have the like AMA, like, ask them like maybe one question about how to get better, and then move on to other things. It's like we get it, Overwatch League crowd. You want to be as good as Pine. He's gonna tell you to practice. You're not gonna like that, because no one wants to practice, but he's gonna tell you it's practice.
I want the short way. I want to just like change my DPI to like 6.9.
I want to copy your DPI.
No. Like, my mouse DPI goes to 420, my in-game sense go to 6.9, and become a DPS god. That's how it works, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's there's very instant results in becoming good at this game. But moving on,
it's
I guess.
interesting,
Oh yeah. That's very chill, very trill.
Yeah. But moving on to today. So today, obviously live right now, is Philly Fusion versus San Francisco Shock.
Actually, a good match.
Yeah. It looks like Philly could do. San Fran could do this. We'll see what Sinatra does here, but yeah, they're on their last defense on Route 66.
Yes, right Shock is 2 up right now against Fusion, and Fusion has 1 win.
2-1. Ooh, Architect, big snipe on a Carpe.
Yeah, so I could definitely see Shock winning this. I still think Philly's gonna win personally. I think they're gonna pull it back. We'll see how that goes. Next up though for today is Florida Mayhem versus the Shanghai Dragons. Now, I think
potential.
I think Shanghai's gonna win.
Yeah, they have a chance here.
They've been playing so well.
I'm gonna predict that San Francisco finishes this in 2 minutes and 40 seconds or whatever time is left with a win, and then I'm also gonna predict that Florida gets a W, because Sire player and Awesome Dude have been playing out of their minds. They're not gonna have the answer.
I believe this is like one of the few teams Shanghai actually has a chance against.
They have a really good chance. Yeah,
I want to believe.
This team.
We all believe, right?
I think they can do it. I would not be surprised if Florida won though. And then the last match for today, Boston Uprising versus Seoul Dynasty. I want to say Seoul. I like Seoul as a team.
No.
I like Seoul as a team more than Boston, but Boston's gonna win, right? I mean, they're just so well. They're just such a good team.
San Francisco just won. I called it.
Oh, you're right. All right. So San Francisco has won. So there we go.
Yep. I predict
the
Boston's
one
gonna
thing
beat the Dynasty.
I'm predicting Dynasty for one reason only, because currently they're equal in standings with wins and losses. So the person who will win will be second. So Seoul won't be sandbagging. Seoul will be tryharding.
They're gonna be
if they're sandbagging, then there's some other reason, and then the speculation can start.
They're gonna take out the Monka gun.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting match for Seoul versus Boston, because they're both great teams. I still think that Boston's probably gonna win. I think they have the better roster, but I'm rooting for Seoul. I want Seoul to win. But
I just want Seoul to play like actually full on tryhard.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, make it an actual good match. and like prove that you're worthy of that second spot, because like recently I haven't felt like that.
And I want to get a little greedy here and also demand that I get to see some sick Jae-Hong Ana plays. Because
Yeah, that's greedy. That's too greedy.
that's a little greedy. But they've been running the Mercy Ana, so you never know. I haven't checked the
never know.
I haven't checked the map. I haven't checked the map pool for today. But if they run if Numbani's on it today, then they'll probably run the Ana.
No, definitely it'll be interesting if they do. But I think that we are done for this week's Atreo podcast. So I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Bye.